Hello, English learners. Welcome back to the Level Up English YouTube channel. My name is Michael, and I've got a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to be talking about the exciting topic of punctuation. That's right. So I'm going to be talking more specifically today about the comma. The comma is that little tiny dot with a tail on the end of it, and it's very, very common. There's a joke there somewhere. It's a common comma in the English language. And I would say it's also the most misunderstood and the most incorrectly used of pretty much all of the punctuation in English. So I'm going to go into a few of the common ways in which we use it today. However, I should mention I'm not going to include every way we use it. I made a full video on this topic at levelupenglish.school. This is my membership site. So members at this school can get access to hundreds of hours of content, group classes, the private podcast, and lots of stuff going on over there. I've started recently a series on writing, and I'm teaching how to improve your writing, specifically right now with punctuation. It's really, really important. So I'm going through some lessons over there now. So if you want to see the full video, you'll have to become a member. However, I don't want to force you to become a member, so I'm still going to include as much as I can in this video today on YouTube. So I'm going to get right into it now, and I hope you enjoy it. So thank you for watching. So okay, the comma, it has quite a few misconceptions, this word. That's what we can look at first of all. So one thing to keep in mind is they do have strict rules. Many people think that the whole reason to have a comma is just to give you a chance to breathe. Whenever you want to breathe and have a break when you're talking, you can use a comma. This is not true. There are actually some very strict rules as to how you can use them. So it's a little bit of a nightmare when people learn that, when people discover that. It's like, oh no, I've been using it wrong the whole time and I have to learn all these rules. It's a little bit of a headache, but I'm going to try to make it simple for us today. And another important thing to mention is if you do use them incorrectly, it can sometimes change the meaning of the sentence. So you have to be really careful. It can sometimes be confusing. So it's important. It is important. So let's get into the first one today. This one is one that many people get wrong, and this is after introductory phrases. So an introductory phrase is something that sets the context for the sentence. So as you can see in these examples here, we're saying, today I went to the park. So it's setting the context that this happened today. As an English person, I agree with this. You will notice that often we do pause when we read a comma, not always, but we do often pause. So as an English person, pause, I agree with this. So it's telling you the context that I am talking from this point of view as an English person. Regarding smartphones, comma, it's not a big problem. In response to your message, I don't want to reply. First, I need to go home. Yeah, so whenever we have these phrases like first, second, lastly, on one hand, on the other hand, however, all these kind of introductory phrases, we need to have a comma after them. And it makes the sentence much more clear. It's much clearer this way, but also it's just easier to read as well. Can you think of any more for this one? The next one is for conditional sentences. And these are sentences that use the word if or sometimes the word when as well. So for example, if you look at this one here, if it rains, I'll take an umbrella. So we separate these two clauses. If it rains, that's the action. I'll take an umbrella, that's the result. We've got the if clause and the result clause, and these are always separated with a comma. Well, almost always. I'll explain more in a minute. But here's another one. When she leaves, I'll be sad. If I had prepared more, I wouldn't be so sad now. Yeah, let me know. Give me a question in the comments. Give me another if question if you can. One important note here though is we don't use a comma if the clauses are reversed. So here, if comes at the beginning, but here it comes in the middle. So I'll take an umbrella if it rains. No comma in this case. I'll be sad when she leaves. You might also hear that I'm not gonna pause as much. So let me read both of these. If it rains, I'll take an umbrella. I'll take an umbrella if it rains. So I didn't really pause much on that second one. But this is very similar to the previous one. We could say today I went to the park. Or we could say I went to the park today. And notice when we put today at the end, we don't need a comma because it's not an introductory phrase anymore. It's not introducing anything. So yeah, depending on where you use it, it will change, but hopefully that's not too difficult. The next way in which we use a comma is one that I'm sure you know, and that is for lists or series of events. So they separate different items in a list, and phrases as well. We also use it for phrases too. And we generally will pause a little bit when we're reading this aloud. So if you listen to how I read this first sentence, I need to buy bread, cookies, water, and bananas. So it's just making it very clear where the list ends and begins. We're not talking about cookie water. There's no such thing as cookie water. We're talking about cookies and water, right? Here's another example. I said I wouldn't go to work that day, that I wouldn't buy the beer, or that I wouldn't even enter the shop. Yeah, so it's a list of phrases, a list of kind of actions, a series of events here. And the last one, the cat climbed on the desk, looked through the cupboards, and even knocked over a glass. What has your cat done? So almost done now, but the next one is asking someone directly. So when you are talking to someone and addressing someone directly, it's useful to use a comma. People often don't do this. Again, it's not the end of the world if you don't do it, but it does make your sentence a little bit more structured and clearer as well. So for example, we would say thank you, comma, John. Thank you, John. I think you're right, comma, Andrew. Or we could even put it in the middle, like, I think, Andrew, you're right. So we can play around with the order a little bit here. But either way, you have to have the comma either before the name or, as in the last example, either side of the name. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments, and you can leave a thank you, comma, Michael in the comments. But yeah, there we have it. So that was a long video, but I really hope you found it useful. If you did, let me know, and I will try to do more in my punctuation series. And yeah, by the way, if you want to see the full video and the full lessons on this, then don't forget to check out my full membership site, levelupenglish.school. You can become a member there and access many lessons, probably hundreds of hours of content at this point. But yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Want more lessons from me? I teach group classes. I also have podcast transcripts, accent training courses and classes, and of course much more. Become a member today at levelupenglish.school.